So, you are planning to relocate to the most beautiful place in Bavaria, the Allgäu, and today I would like to show you the opportunities you can have in this region. If you visit the Allgäu as a tourist, that's one thing, but if you actually want to live here, it is a bit different. There are few things you should consider before relocating here, especially if you plan to work and live in the Allgäu. Of course, you need to look at the job market and the real estate situation. If you cannot find a job and if rents are very expensive, which they are right now, then it's something you really need to think about carefully. I would like to introduce you to some cities in the East Allgäu where you can both live and work. And the first one is one of the most beautiful small towns in Germany, Füssen. From the outside, Füssen looks like the perfect place to live. It is quite beautiful and surrounded by nature. But what happens when you actually try to build a life here? Not as a tourist, but as someone who needs a job, an apartment and a future. If someone moves to Füssen and needs a job quickly, the most obvious place they will end up in the hospitality. Restaurants and cafes are everywhere, especially in the old town. During peak season, they are busy from morning to night. At first glance, it seems like a good thing. Businesses are constantly looking for staff. You will often see signs saying they are hiring. It gives the impression that finding work is easy. And in a way, it's true. But the deeper question is, what kind of work is it? These jobs are often physically demanding with long hours and irregular schedules. Weekends and holidays are the busiest times, so that's when you work the most. Salaries tend to be on the lower side, especially compared to bigger cities in Bavaria. And then there is a seasonality. Füssen and the surrounding area are dominated by small businesses, family-run shops, local service providers, small companies with just a handful of employees. This creates a very different job market compared to a big city. In a large city, you might have corporate structures, clear career paths and opportunities to move between companies. Here, things are more static. A business might have 5 or 10 employees and positions don't open up very often. Hiring is also less formal. Connections, local networks, and personal recommendations can play a big role. If you are new to the area, that can make things harder. If you look at Bavaria as a whole, it is one of the strongest industrial regions in Germany. Cities like Munich or Augsburg have large companies, factories, and wide range of technical jobs. But Füssen is different. Within a radius of 15 kilometers, industrial opportunities are quite limited. There are some companies, but not the kind of dense industrial infrastructure you find in bigger urban areas. If you want to work in a factory or a technical field, you often have to commute further, sometimes to places like Kempten or even beyond. And that introduces another challenge: mobility. Public transport in rural areas is not as frequent or flexible as in cities. So having a car often becomes necessary, especially if you want to be flexible and have more mobility and explore all beauties of Allgäu and South Tyrol in Austria. The infrastructure is relatively good, but like mentioned, not so developed like in big cities. Now we come to one of the most critical aspects: rent. At first you might expect a small town like Füssen to be affordable, but that's not really the case. The region is highly desirable, not just for tourists, but also for people looking for second homes or holiday apartments. A significant portion of housing is tied to tourism in one way or another. This reduces the number of apartments actually available for long-term residents. As a result, finding a place to live can be surprisingly difficult. Prices are relatively high compared to local wages, especially in hospitality or small businesses. My recommendation is looking for a rental apartment not only in Füssen but also in other small villages, where the rental situation can look like a little bit more affordable. Füssen is an incredible place to visit, maybe even one of the most beautiful places in Germany. But living here is a different experience. There are jobs, but mostly in certain sectors. There are apartments, but they can be hard to find. And there are high quality of life, but it comes with limitations. Do you have questions about living in Bavaria, business in Germany or learning German language? Then don't hesitate and contact me.